Hello, in this Bluebook video we are going to cover the basics of citing reported cases. This includes cases, appellate court cases that are reported in official and non-official reporters, mostly official reporters, and not unpublished opinions and cases that are published in other vendor services like B&E. So this video will cover the very basics of citing to appellate court cases reported in reporters. So if you look at the screen now, you're going to see the 3 citations that are in Bluebook format. And we'll begin by identifying the 3 basic parts of a citation, which are the case name, which is underlined, the reporter citation, and at the end, the court designation. So if you look at the first citation here, we see the case name is underlined. It is Engel versus Vitale, and it's underlined. And this is the case name. Thompson versus Hansen is the second case name. Next comes the official reporter or the reporter citation. And in the Engel case, the citation is to the United States Reports, which is the official reporter for the United States Supreme Court. The first number is the volume number, and the second number is the page number on which the case begins. So if you went and got a physical copy of the book, the United States Reports, and went to the 370th volume, at page 421, you should have the first page of Engel versus Vitale. That's how the citation works. Over here, next we have another number, 430. This is a reference to the pinpoint citation. In other words, if you're quoting to a specific piece of text from Engel versus Vitale, 430 is the page upon which you find that text. And we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Finally, there's the court designation. And you'll notice by comparing Engel with Thompson that there's a lot more information on the Thompson case. And that's because Engel is a United States Supreme Court case, and we're citing to the United States Reporter. When we cite to United States Supreme Court cases, we always use the U.S. Reporter. And the only type of opinions that are in that reporter are Supreme Court opinions. So when you look at this case, citation, your reader knows, and you know when you see these citations, that this case comes from the United States Supreme Court. So there's no need to put a court designation on there because the reporter reference gives us that information. However, Thompson versus Hansen, we do need we do need the state appellate court the state court information because the reporter is the Pacific Third, and there's a lot of cases published, a lot of cases and a lot of courts published in the Pacific Reporter. So we need to make sure that our reader knows that Thompson versus Hansen comes from the Washington Court of Appeals as opposed to the Washington Supreme Court or the Oregon Supreme Court or some other state Court of Appeals or Supreme Court that's reported in the Pacific Reporter. And you see the same reference at the bottom here to the Texas Court of Appeals. So J.P. Morgan Chase Bank versus Borges comes from the Texas Court of Appeals, and the official reporter that it's published in, is 481, is in the Southwest Third, 481 being the volume number and 255 being the page number. Okay. That's the basics of citations. Let's take a look at the rule real quick now. Again, we'll be using the Bluebook the online Bluebook, to take a look at the rules associated with citing to cases. And Rule 10 in the Bluebook covers cases. And there's a number of sub rules beneath this that talk about various advanced elements. We just want to take a look at the general rule. I will point out that if you look at the blue pages, Rule 10, it will tell you how to cite to cases in a court document. So when we were looking at the rules a moment ago and the case names were underlined, that's because they were prepared for a court document. You don't have to underline cases if the case name if you're not publishing it in a court document. So this Rule 10, it breaks out all the elements of a case citation by first party name and second party name. Again, the reporter volume number, page number, specific page reference to, or the pinpoint citation, the reporter abbreviation. Again, this is a United States report. The United States reporter, so we know this is a United States Supreme Court case. And at the very end, we see the 1986, which is just the date of the decision, and this reference here that says no court is listed because it's clear from the reporter name. Again, we're looking at the United States reports. We know this is going to be a Supreme Court opinion. So how do we get this information when we want to cite a case, when we're looking at a case online? Okay, let's take a quick minute to look at Engel versus Vitale on Westlaw. So this is when you're looking at the case on Westlaw, you get all the information you need to cite to the case. You don't even have to use an official citation tool that often comes with databases like this because it's pretty easy to do very clearly. This is a Supreme Court case. Up here in the upper left-hand corner, we can see it says Supreme Court of the United States. We see the name of the case, Engel v. Vitale. That's what we would cite to. This gives us the court information. And we see over here the very first citation is the Supreme Court citation. That's all we would need to cite to this case. So the name, the citation, the second element, the name of the case, the second element, and down here we would get the date, 1962. What are these other citations? These other citations refer to other types of reporters, vendor-based reporters. So Supreme Court Reporter is published by West. It's just a different publication of the same case, the exact same case. It's just in a different volume set. Lawyer's Edition Second, the citation here, is actually published, I think, by Lexis. So this gives you all the elements you need to cite to Engel versus White. Now, you can note that one thing Westlaw does is they put the words that are used in the title of the case in all caps. So this is the caption of the case here, and you'll note that they capitalize the actual words used in the case name. It used to be important, not so much anymore because they actually give you the case name now. What if you're citing to a particular piece of text? Well, you note that there's 3 different citation formats here. 370, 421 from the U.S., 82 and 1261 from the Supreme Court Reporter, and 8601 from the Lawyer's Edition Second. So as you scroll down into the body of the case, so after here, the attorneys and law firms begin here. You begin to see these references coming out. So here we have 2 numbers under attorneys and law firm. 1262 tells you that that this text appears on page 1262 of the United States of the Supreme Court Reporter, and on page 421 of the official U.S. Reporter. There's 1 asterisk at the beginning of 421 because it's the first citation. There's 2 asterisks in front of 1262 because it's the second second citation in a row up here. So if you go into the case, and let's just say you decide to quote this language here, just like this, then you could tell your reader, your pinpoint citation would be 430. So you would cite to this as 370 US 421, 430. Why wouldn't it be 431? Because 431, because it's the text after 431 that appears on page 431 of the reporter. The text before it would be on page 430. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's the basics of looking at a case on Westlaw. Let's take a look at another case real quick. Okay, I want to take a quick look at Thompson v. Hansen. This is another case that appears on in the citation list I gave you. Again, notice you have the case name in the upper left-hand corner. You have two reporters over here, the Washington Appellate, which is the state-published appellate court reporter, and the Pacific Third, which is the regional reporter that Washington cases appear in. So which one do you use? As a general rule, you can use the general regional reporter. So you would cite to Thompson versus Hansen using the information as it appears on this page by citing to Thompson versus Hansen, the name of the case up here, 174 P3rd 120, Washington Court of Appeals, 2007. Pretty easy. You can get all the information right from here. And again, if you scroll down, you will see that you're getting, the page references to the Pacific reporters, so you can do pinpoint citations. Okay, I finally want to show you a case. This is a JP Morgan Chase Bank case I also gave you the citation for. And we're going to take a look at Lexis this time. Lexis works actually a little easier than, with one bit of confusion I want to point out really quickly. Again, upper left-hand corner, you get the case name. This is the case. This is what you need to name the case. You get the regional reporter citation right after that. You're almost home. The one thing that may be a bit confusing is over here they'll put the Fifth Court of Appeals. And if you're not careful, you may think that's the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. I had a couple of students do that before. What you want to pay attention to is down here under the name. Make sure you always check the Court of Appeals for this, and you'll see this is actually the Texas Court of Appeals. We don't put the 5th District in. We simply say Texas Court of Appeals and the year of the case, which is up here, 2015. So it's J.P. Morgan Chase Bank N.A. versus Borges, 481 Southwest 2nd, 255, Texas Court of Appeals, 2015. And again, you get a scroll down into the opinion. You will get the same, they're very small in Lexis, so you really have to kind of look for them. But you do get the same page references as well. There it is, right here, 259. That refers to, this is your pinpoint citation page, or page reference. Okay, this video has gone on longer than I generally like these videos to go, but it does cover the very basics of case citation, and now you should be able to cite to almost any case that you find on Westlaw or Lexis, or frankly any other source, because you understand the elements of what's needed in a complete case citation.